If you have been called on a path of ascension, of evolution, of growth, then this video is going to be helpful for you. We're looking at the ascension process. What is actually evolved in ascension, in evolution? What things can you work on to help yourself get through the stages quicker? And what do you need to be aware of? Like, what is next? Okay. So the first stage of the ascension process is the awakening stage. It is realizing that there's more to life, that there is something bigger than yourself. It may be a spiritual awakening, it may be a religious awakening, both of which are becoming more and more common. In this stage, really the things that once mattered start to matter less. So instead of worrying about how people will perceive us, about the status we present as, the identities that we have, which are all very ego-driven desires to appear a certain way, to be someone, these start to dissolve, and it becomes less about how you are being perceived, but more about finding depth and meaning. So it's slowly shifting to what feels better rather than what just looks good. We're gaining that depth in perception. And so in this stage of ascension, or in the awakening stage, you will likely start to seek more meaning and purpose, start doing more wholesome activities, looking for friends and experiences that are filling your cup, that are feeling better, that are giving more fulfillment, more meaning, more purpose. Okay, this is really the theme of the first stage. And the test in this first stage of awakening, because it can be incredibly overwhelming to start to see things from a different perspective, because your once truth is no longer true, and you can feel that you were lied to, that you were misled, that you saw things differently. And so it can be easy to get into existential crisis, into anger, into overwhelm. It is all normal. It is all normal. And it's moving through this. The test in the first stage is to try not to get caught up in this shock, even though that may be easier said than done. But it's really about self-awareness. Where can you start to be more aware of yourself, of perhaps the way you once acted unconsciously, because before awakening, you were asleep, you were unconscious. And so the majority of your patterns, behaviors, way of living has been unconscious up until now. And so it's now starting to observe that, starting to observe yourself, becoming aware of your thoughts, becoming aware of your habits, your patterns, and starting to experience yourself. And through your observation is where you will start to take back control of your life, because when you can see where things have been unconscious, you can choose consciously. So it's about bringing light to what you may not have wanted to witness or experience or be aware of, and then choosing that differently. And so a great habit that I recommend to people getting started to just build that conscious awareness is just picking small things and switching them up. We are in automatic mode, autopilot mode a lot of the time, all of the time up until now. And so it's picking a task that is always been automatic, something so simple like brushing your teeth or driving to work, and doing it differently. So simply by using another hand, or to brush your teeth, or to go a different route to work, or to wash up with your other hand, start to challenge yourself to do things differently, and you'll slowly break this pattern of being unconscious. This is the first step, is developing that self-awareness, that conscious awareness. Now, the second stage of ascension, of awakening, is not quite finding purpose externally, but finding purpose in you. And I touch on this because it can be such a deep desire to have more purpose. Like, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? What is the meaning? And to start having these bigger questions. And it's not so much about diving into your purpose straight away. It's about finding purpose in yourself and mastering yourself, because by mastering yourself, then your purpose becomes clear. And so until you know your purpose, which it will come when you are ready, your purpose is you. So the second stage is about emotional awareness. So it goes a layer deeper than what would be your physical awareness of how you are acting and behaving and doing. And then going into your emotional awareness, not just awareness, but processing. It's taking responsibility for how you're feeling and then actually doing something about it. It's creating change, okay? So here, it's about spending time in silence to feel out your emotions, to allow them to metabolize. It's about feeling out the stuck emotions. So the emotions that you are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Perhaps you fall into anger, or you fall into sadness, or you feel guilty, right? It's these repeating emotions that are stuck. And so it's about bringing your conscious awareness to them to then metabolize them so that they are no longer repeating. Okay, there are two ways to do this, and it's pretty normal that you will progress through. So the first is taking a passive approach. And this is modalities where you are sitting back and not doing much. So Reiki or breath work or meditation, yoga, maybe yin yoga, where you're not doing a whole lot, but the purpose is that you are going within and allowing your body to start to metabolize emotions. Okay, this is a great starting point. The next part of this is more of an active approach, and that is more you commanding the space. So you identifying the stuck emotion and figuring out where it started and resolving it. So this is shadow work and inner child healing, somatic processing, where you're the one that is taking command of your energy to then resolve an emotion. And likely here, you won't know what you're doing because you've never done it before. And so this is the time where you would lean on others that have done it and work with healers or practitioners that can teach you how to do it yourself. There's a small learning curve. And the same is true for meditation, because silence is required for this inner processing work. A lot of people will have challenges in meditating. They sit down and it's really difficult. They can't focus, they can't concentrate, they can't meditate. Now, just like when you go to a gym, you're not strong initially, right? You may not be able to lift 50 kilos. So it's about training it. It's about starting really small and working your way up. It's training your capacity to focus in meditation and to be still and to be aware. It's only going to happen with training, and the same goes for understanding your inner world and how to resolve and process emotions so that they don't keep coming back, so that you can actually get them unstuck and metabolize them so that you can move beyond them, because we don't want to go in loops. And one thing that keeps people looping here is being in the head. And so if you're trying to analyze your emotions from your mind and understand where they came from, you're not able to process or metabolize them because you're not in the body. The emotions are stored in the body, and so it needs to be a felt experience of feeling out the emotion. No amount of understanding or thinking about it actually resolves it. And so even though it may be uncomfortable at first to get in the body and to feel the emotions that you've spent your whole life avoiding, by getting into them and just putting your conscious awareness and attention on it with the intention of feeling it out, that's enough to unstick it, to loosen it up, to let it go. Because a lot of the theme here is about letting go. It's about purifying. It's about releasing so that you can feel lighter, so that you're not carrying so much stuff, so much weight from your past experiences, from your lifetime. Okay, the purpose of this work is to open the heart and move from the head to the heart. So I've already touched on that, but it's about activating more of your body's intelligence, because if you've spent your whole life in your head, then you're only using a small capacity of your body's intelligence. Your heart is known as the second brain. And so by opening the heart, as in starting to process the emotions and allowing yourself to feel and then letting them go, you start to bring this part of your body's intelligence online. You start to activate it and work with it. Okay, so like I said, it does help to have a teacher or a guide in this space when you're purifying and neutralizing. A lot of the work is noticing where there's a emotional charge and then bringing that to neutrality. And so we can sort of close down these cycles so that we're always operating in a state of neutrality. And that's where you find that level of calm and peace, and not always so triggered and reactive. And so triggers are a great way in to explore and to start this work. Now, get a teacher or a guide if you want an online training. I have documented my entire self-healing process online on how you can metabolize these emotions and work with it somatically from an inner child sense, through forgiveness work, through journaling. So all of that is available if you wanted to go deeper without the one-to-one support that is on my website. Now, the third stage of the ascension process of awakening is starting to work with the mental body. So by now we've already looked at the physical body, becoming aware of our habits and behaviors, and might just add there that part of it, the through line and the theme for all of this work is purification. And so in the first stage, where you're becoming aware of how you're acting and you're looking for more wholesome activities, then purification may be a theme here, in that you are looking to eat healthier, to purify friendships, relationships, so you have less toxicity in your inner circle, and drinking cleaner water, all of that. So very much purifying on a physical level. And then the second level we have spoken about is the emotional purification and processing work. And now the third stage of this ascension process is working with the mental body, working with the mind and your perspective. It's about evolving your perspective here to see things a little bit wiser than maybe you once have. Okay, it's harmonizing the ego. So things are becoming less about me and more about we. It's becoming more of a expansion of your sense of self. Because when we are asleep, it can be very much that we are in a childlike state where it's all about, this is me, this is mine. When you're a child and you're learning to go about the world and they have toys and it's like, this is my toy, we can keep that mentality. And so it's opening up to see yourself as bigger than you are. And that includes seeing yourself as equal with others and desiring more. Sharing's not the word I'm looking for. More about what is for the greater good. Okay, not just what is serving you. It's about what is serving the greater good. Okay, so this is where we let go of the need to be right, and we go more in for what is for the best of everyone involved. Okay, we start to value our friends, our family, our relationships, and our community more so than we maybe once have if we had solely valued ourselves. Okay, it's broadening your care factor, considering other people's perspectives, and accumulating more wisdom. So it's outgrowing this child mind and finding more maturity in your perspectives and outlooks. In this stage, this is the stage in between. You're really confronting beliefs about who you were, who you are. So you're going to start to see yourself differently. You start to, instead of seeing yourself as just a human, you start to see yourself as a energetic being, right? There's more to you, because now you're starting to work with the layers of self, which is the emotional body, the mental body, and you start to see yourself in a broader perspective. So here it's very common to revisit the identity in that we're letting go of labels and masks. So we are more than just a parent figure or a sibling or a teacher. We are more than the masks that we wear, the really kind, friendly one who always helps, the people pleaser mask. We start to shed these. And it's more about leaning into just accepting you as a being rather than having to have all these labels and identities around who you are. And so it's leaning into the I am consciousness, the consciousness of oneness, of I just am. I'm a being. I don't have to be anyone to be worthy. I'm just worthy as I am. And so that is the transition in the third phase, is working with that mental body and how you are viewing everything. So it's really about seeing more truth in yourself and the world. The principles that you may work with here are the law of reflection. So this is perception is projection, starting to see communications from the universe coming back to you as opportunities for growth. One thing that is an easy starting point is where you have judgments towards others. So if you can identify where you have a judgment towards another, it's usually because you haven't yet accepted that part of yourself. And so it's using the world as a mirror to see where are you not yet free, mentally or emotionally, so that you can dissolve it, metabolize it, purify it, and become more free. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, the fourth stage of ascension, and this is the 5D or the new earth way of operating. So once we've gotten through those layers or processes where we're working on these parts of the system, then we can come into the fourth stage, which is more about creation. It's more about embodiment. What I mean by that is it's about embodying who you really are as a being, not your limited human mind version who was identifying with all these labels that society has given and expectations, but it's about you being in the essence of who you are, more of expressing yourself as a soul, as a energetic being, a light being. I'm not sure if that's the language that is ideal there, but that is the essence of that. It's more about authenticity and joy and just being who you are. So without the limits, the labels, the expectations. It's living in your truth, in unity with others, with the collective, with the whole, and having love for others, like seeing others as siblings, right? So less division and more like we're all one, we're all come from the same source. And so having love and respect and reverence for them as beings who have the same inherent value as you because you are here at the same time. And so it's wanting the best for people. You find your value and worth in presence and in beingness rather than what we can do is get caught up in doing. It's about I just am, and I'm able to be who I am, and that is enough. So there's little pressure or expectations to do, but it's finding that that value in your being, in just being who you are. And lastly, here is where you're going to find your purpose externally. So yes, it's a desire that a lot of us do have when we start to awaken. But typically once you have mastered yourself, then your purpose becomes clear. So once you have gone through the layers, the emotional layers, and evolved your perspective a bit, you'll start unlocking more intuitive awareness and more self-knowledge about yourself. And this is where your purpose becomes clear about who you are and what you're meant to do. And so it's okay to trust and have faith that through the journey it's going to come and that it doesn't need to be pushed or prodded, but that information is going to be available to you when you are ready to experience it and act on it. And a lot of the time, we need to get rid of the old ways of operating before we're ready to go all in on our purpose and mission and the plan that is set out for us, or the plan that we set out for us before we came. So that is pretty much the journey as I experience it, as my truth, as God's truth. It's an interesting time that we are living in, and that we have so much evolution available to us at the moment that it's becoming easier to do, and to do a lifetime of healing in just a few short years. And so if you dedicate yourself to this process, it's a really beautiful journey in what we're going to experience, because as the earth herself evolves from 3 dimensions to 5 dimensions, we're going to have more people living as co-creators with the universe, living in embodiment of who they are and in love and unity with each other. And we can imagine what sort of a world that is going to birth. So I'm really excited for that to start to normalize. We're still very early days. The new earth has sort of just landed in the last few months. Now, I hope this has helped you. The greatest tool that you have, just a few final notes here and I'll wrap it up. Your greatest tool is silence. It's interesting to me how many people resist silence. At the gym the other day, we had 2 minutes of downtime at the end, and the teacher said, just lay down and do nothing. And straight away, I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do this. And I close my eyes, and I'm great at doing nothing because I've practiced this. But it was really difficult for a lot of people, and they were just chatting away and didn't actually commit to the task. And it's normalized that we are always distracted and on and doing. But to ascend and to grow, it's within, right? So you have to embrace this silence. It's your greatest tool in all of this. And so if you're ever feeling flustered or overwhelmed or not sure what to do, come back to that. Come back to that silence. Make time for silence, whether it just be 5 minutes a day of just being in the quiet, closing down your eyes, maybe just breathing. That is going to help you anchor in this change a lot faster. Now, it's about going within. It's about finding your inner authority. So insourcing your power, your information, your intuition, rather than following the external authorities. It's bumpy out there, and the authorities out there don't always have our best interests at heart. And so it is more important now than ever to find truth with what feels right for you, and having yourself as a baseline. Because when we're presented with choices that may not be for our greater good, it's about having that resource to check in and say, does this feel good for me? Is this right for me? And if you're getting a no, then trust that. I think that is going to be really important in the coming years, our ability to discern what is right for us or not. And go within, silence your mind, open your heart. It's about deconditioning your mind, letting go, undoing, unlearning, so that you can become, okay? And it's about becoming who you truly are. So happy ascension. Let me know where you're at on the journey. Let me know what you are working on. And if you have any questions that I could help you with, put them below and I will take time to answer each of them personally. And that is all for today. Have a lovely day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.